Salmon from the wild White River, baked with humble vegetables and seasoned with herbs, all wrapped in a pastry case, is a favorite dish of the nobles living throughout the northern regions of Skyrim. This specific recipe comes from the kitchens of Ulfric Stormcloak, the Bear of Markarth, Jarl of Windhelm and presumptive High King of Skyrim. The White River runs through his lands from the headwaters south of Riverwood, north past Whiterun, and out into the Sea of Ghosts near Windhelm. Salmon are abundant there, leaping up the current in great numbers. There are a myriad ways to catch them. Arrows and bolts work well, but a skillfully deployed destruction spell is particularly effective. They are a popular ingredient for cooking, and simply baking the fish with some herbs will result in a delicious meal. Today, however, we will be using Ulfric's preferred recipe.
The Elder Scrolls Official Cookbook by Chelsea Monroe-Cassel. Baked White River Salmon.
Our salmon dish is a humble one with very few ingredients, yet it's rich and flavorful enough to be a favorite of manor lords up and down the White River. Before we can start with the salmon, though, we need to make some Stormcloak Seasoning. Let me show you how to do that. Stormcloak Seasoning is one of the favorites of Nords everywhere. 3 of the 4 ingredients can be grown in gardens all throughout Skyrim, and you'll find these little herb gardens everywhere you look. 4 parts of dried dill, 4 parts of fennel seed, and then 2 parts of mustard powder, which is really just ground up mustard seeds. The 4th is exotic, it's imported, and I myself had to go to an importer to find these. It's grains of paradise. You might be able to find them where you are, or you might be able to find a trader who can procure them for you. Or if you can't find these, you can just use black peppercorns. You can see these are smaller than peppercorns, larger than mustard seeds. They've got a nice spicy kind of citrusy flavor. They are a really good addition if you can find it. We want these things ground up before we use them. The dill and the mustard powder already ground. The fennel seeds are whole, and the grains of paradise are whole. So I'm just going to smash them up in my mortar and pestle. And then we'll just mix the 4 things together, put them in a little jar, and we can use them for all sorts of recipes. We're only going to use just a small portion whenever we bake the salmon, but I'm going to go ahead and make up a big batch because I'm going to use it for other things later. And here we have the final mixture. It's nice and herbaceous, a little spicy, a little anisey, like licorice from the fennel. Smells wonderful. Grinding it by hand like this really kind of brought out the smells and the oils and so forth. I'm just going to go ahead and put this in a little jar. We'll save it for not just this recipe, but for plenty of other recipes to come. The Nords use it in everything.
Now back to the ingredients.
First, we have the star of the show, the White River Salmon. We have a sheet of puff pastry. This one I just got from the merchant, but you can probably get it from one of your local bakers. An egg from the hens out back. We've got a little bit of butter, some heavy cream, a couple of veggies out of the garden, some leeks and carrots. We've got our Stormcloak seasoning that we mixed up earlier, and a little bit of cheese. Let's get started. Now that the vegetables are chopped, we'll melt some butter in our pan, add the vegetables in, let them soften for about 10 to 15 minutes. The leeks are soft, the carrots are starting to soften. I'm going to go ahead and pour in our cream and add our seasoning. Now over here I've got the puff pastry, and I've just rolled it out, flattened it a bit so that it's big enough to wrap around our hunk of salmon. I'm going to take some more of our Stormcloak seasoning and sprinkle that in the middle. That way our salmon will have some seasoning on this side. I'll take our beautiful White River salmon, lay it down over our seasoning right here in the middle, and then our cooled filling, the nice vegetable and cream and cheese and seasoning, will go right over the top. Spread it over the salmon as nice and evenly as I can. And then we've got our beaten egg, and I'll brush that over the edges. And now, starting with a long end, we'll wrap it over the top of the salmon. I just barely rolled it enough so that the edges meet. A little bit more egg wash. Then we'll fold these ends over. And there we go. Then we take a baking sheet, put down either a layer of parchment paper, or in this case, I've got a nice silicone sheet. That'll do the job for me. Take our salmon and put it seam side down. Then a little bit more egg wash over the top. So give it some color as it's baking. Take a knife, the back of a knife, make some little designs. That's it. The oven is heated up, 375. I'm going to stick this in and we'll give it about 25-30 minutes. The salmon's been in for a half hour. Let's take it out and see how it is. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. So the pastry seams cooked through. It's browned nicely, not just where the egg wash was, but around the sides too, where I didn't wash it. It sounds crunchy and crispy. We're gonna let it sit for a few minutes and then come back and serve it up in just a few. It's cooled off for a few minutes, should be ready to cut into. Let's try it out. Beautiful salmon, done just perfectly through, wrapped in that crust, sitting on top of a bed of vegetables. I'm going to slice me off a piece and put it on a plate over here. So the book suggested that we serve it with some rice and some garlic bread, and it gave us the recipe for the garlic bread. I just cooked the rice my regular way, but here it is. Even got a nice big mug of beer that I picked up last time I visited the Blackbriar Meadery just outside Whiterun. Let's give this a taste. The vegetables are rich with that cream, but not overly so. You can really taste the Stormcloak seasoning more than I thought that we would be able to. The grains of paradise just give that exoticism that my taste buds wouldn't normally expect. The salmon is perfectly done. It flakes apart easily. It's very moist all the way throughout. And it's got that top layer of the Stormcloak seasoning too. And then of course we've got that pastry. The pastry's crispy on the outside and nice and soft on the inside. Very tender. Garlic bread. Nothing special there. Just butter and garlic and bread and cheese. But that is a good pairing. Some nice dark beer to wash it all down. That was really nice. I've had salmon wrapped in pastry before. That's a pretty normal preparation. Having the vegetables underneath, the leeks and the carrots, that's also a pretty common pairing. Nice and earthy. It just goes well. But the thing that really makes it stand out, makes it feel like it's part of Skyrim, is that Stormcloak seasoning. The mix of the mustard and the dill weed and the fennel seed and those exotic grains of paradise just really bring an interesting combination of flavors that I haven't experienced before. I'm glad we found this recipe. Can't wait to make it again. And looking forward to more recipes from this book coming up so we can explore other parts of the lands of the Elder Scrolls. Thanks for joining me on this culinary adventure. I can't wait to find out where we're going next, whether it's this world or some other world. I hope you subscribe, give it a like, comment down below, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.